are going to be watching a video called The Most Embarrassing Moments in Gaming Journalism. And this is gonna be a long video because there are probably at least 4. Let's check it out.
Who wants to hear a really funny joke?
Me!
Gaming journalism. I think a lot of people have slowly realized over the years, gaming journalism is in dire straits.
Yes.
Sonic was never good.
For some strange...
Never? Sonic was never good? I mean, the music's great.
reason, journalism, specifically about the gaming industry, seems to have people in it who know next to nothing about video games. Some act like they've never touched a video game in their life, even though that's, you know, their job.
He said the J word.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a tough game. Old school tough.
What?
So you better bring your butt-stomping A game, as this will test even the most seasoned platforming veterans.
Why is he acting like this is bossy?
Which begs the question, did these people really want to be game journalists in the first place?
No!
Or was this their only shot at getting in the journalism industry in general?
Yes!
It really seems like it would be the easiest job in the world. Play video games, go to gaming conventions.
Betrayal! What? Betrayal! Betrayed me! This game sucks!
Write about them, talk about them. That is
emoting.
like a dream job. So why is this so hard?
Oh, no. This just did psychic damage to the knowers. Please, anything but the comment. Please.
Why do so many games journalists completely drop the ball when it comes to games journalism? There are a multitude of theories, speculations, and attempted explanations, but none of those are concrete. The fact of the
So I actually have a question about game journalism that I'm hoping that somebody can enlighten me on. Do they get the game like super early so that way they can leave a review like the day the game launches? Or do they just like rush through it? Because sometimes the reviews feel so rushed. Like they just want to be the first person to say something. Kotaku don't.
The matter is, games journalists cannot stop embarrassing themselves. So why don't I tell you all about my favorite moments of embarrassment from gaming journalists?
Okay.
These are the most embarrassing moments in gaming journalism.
Ooh, wait, doesn't God Hand kind of have like some, I don't know, aura to it? Is that the right way to word it? Like, it just kind of got something. Yeah, it's like radical.
God Hand was a PS2 game released in 2006, published by Capcom and made by Clover Studio. Directed by Shinji Mikami of Resident Evil fame,
Hi, Shinji.
God Hand is an over-the-top action game.
Yeah, it's like kind of campy, right? I like when things are over the top and they're like unapologetic.
And by over-the-top, I mean...
Of God Hand are 34 way back when.
Wait, what? Seth bought a bunch of God Hand Rule 34? Holy lore drop! That's awesome! That's so cool.
Yeah, this game is crazy. If you have not played this game before, I suggest after this video is over, go see how it means to play it. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. Every person that I've talked to that's played it loves it. Well, except for one person. Out of all IGN reviews, many of them have been dunked and memed on. There's the well-known Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire review where they said it had too much water. And
Dude, if you're a water type L, I guess.
they got memed to hell and back because it sounded so ridiculous. But there is one review they will never live down, and that would be the infamous God Hand review.
Uh-oh.
The reviewer gave the game a 3 out of 10,
Awful.
calling it awful. His
Damn.
main criticisms are, the game is boring, it's frustrating, and annoying.
Okay.
That sounds fair enough, at first.
Uh-oh.
But when you really read through it, it becomes very obvious. He was just really bad at the game.
play. Oh, no, 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 no. Look, take a while to kill and simply act as roadblocks to slow down your progress. After fighting them for your 3rd time, you'll become bored, and by the 50th, you'll be throwing your controller across the room. Do not let bro play a Dark Souls game. He's gonna lose his mind.
He boils down the combat to just mashing buttons when God Hand lets you do crazy stuff like this.
Wait, that's fun! What? That was badass! He's got like aerials and stuff. This is like a couple letters away from being just like Devil May Cry. It was kind of cool. And backflips?
He then complains he had barely any health going from stage.
It's the same devs. Oh, nice. Okay, I see.
To stage, and this made the game incredibly frustrating. When you put 2 and 2 together, you realize this man was most likely mashing buttons throughout the entire game, was getting his ass whooped, and blamed the game when he kept dying. And some of the info is just flat out
Make him a Reddit mod. Nothing is his fault.
contradictory. He claims the enemies were bland and generic, while in the very next paragraph talks about demons that will respawn from fallen enemies, which is something I don't think a lot of games do. That wouldn't really qualify as generic, would it? Oh, and by the way, did I mention that God Hand has a boss fight like this in it?
Oh! What? Wait, this is cool!
Cargon Wild, Joker, One Hard Gangsta, Diamond. You can find me at the club.
Why they sound like me?
Get neutered or stayed. Wow, 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 wow. I'm hurt. I mean hurt. Together we are the MagicMush.
What? No shot. We get a clam cam into a giant rainbow V. They're the Pooter Rangers.
Why are you not playing this game yet? So yes, too long didn't read, he's bad at the game. He just didn't get it. 3 out of 10. After this review was made, it's probably one of the earliest examples of people taking the piss out of a
You can step on somebody's balls until they die? Holy crap, this game is awesome.
professional game website. A lot of people were mocking this dude, and this made him lash out on the forums. God Hand came and went, but this review did not. For years, this review became the butt of jokes. Anytime a bad game or a literal shovelware got a high score on IGN, it was compared to God Hand. Imagine Party Babies is better than God Hand.
Party Babies is more than double as better. I swear to God, I speak English. Sometimes I just don't know why I talk like that.
Even IGN is aware of all the crap this review got. They even made a whole video defending God Hand and explaining how good it actually is a few years ago.
My name is Mitchell Saltzman. I
Hi,
work at
Mitchell.
IGN, and I'd like to say that God Hand, a game that IGN dubbed awful 13 years ago, is in my opinion, not just good, it's actually...
They retconned it.
When the website you work for is debunking your review over a decade later.
Who was that woman? Who was that?
When the website you work for is debunking your review.
Is this in the game? You can spank women? What is going on? They need to remake this shit. Remaster, please.
You over a decade later? That has got to be pretty embarrassing.
I like this guy's channel. He's funny.
Kotaku.
Wait, whoa.
Embarrassing.
Smash Bro Ultimate Disability Slur Kotaku. What?
Kotaku has some of the worst articles on gaming I've ever seen. They screw up this job more than any other website on this video. There are a slew of articles I could have used for this video. There's the PS5 review where the view
I don't ever like listen or go on Kotaku. Is Kotaku kind of like BuzzFeed for gaming? Does that make sense?
viewer says he can't enjoy the PS5 because of the state of the world around them. Well, I'm sorry for you, buddy, but that's something for your therapist, and not people wanting a review of a game console. But the one I'm going for is from their UK division.
Hell no. What a great song.
Smash Bros. Ultimate got its first DLC character with Joker from Persona 5, but along with Joker came with a bunch of songs for the Persona series. One of the songs being from Persona 5, called Wake Up, Get Out.
I love all the Persona
Pretty catchy
music.
song with some nice lyrics. One journalist at Kotaku UK did not think so highly.
What?
Shortly after the Joker DLC came out, a hit piece from Kotaku UK came out called Smash Bros. Ultimate's Persona 5 DLC contains a disability slur.
Wait, what? In the music? I listen to Persona music at the gym. I don't think I ever heard them just slinging slurs around.
At around 1 minute 57 seconds, the term retarded is used, followed by the assertion, I can say it.
What?
This is the clip in question they're talking about.
No way.
Ready to pick up the pieces. Let's go. Let's play retarded.
Okay, this is like one of those misheard lyrics where I definitely hear it now that he said that in the article, but I wouldn't have heard it like that originally. Does that make sense?
Now, I will give the writer this. It does sound like it at a passing listen, but when you really think about it, it
Why
doesn't
would they
make
do
much
that?
sense being in the song.
Yeah.
Why is your first response to write a hit piece on it? When you listen to
They're gonna need to like remake the song now. Like, who else had to do that? The Black Eyed Peas.
the song, you can tell the person who's singing is very obviously from Japan, and Japanese was their first language, not English. So there's a lot of English in here, and she's still trying to sing a language she's not native in. So why do you immediately go for the worst assumption possible instead of thinking maybe you misheard something?
Yeah, like
this
what?
article was a joke, and a ton of different places laughed at it.
The likelihood that they
Dude, it's so weird seeing him with short hair. Like, I'm just so used to like the very long locks now that it's just like a jump scare.
The article was a joke, and a ton of
Like, he
different
looks
places laughed
naked.
at it.
The likelihood that they say retarded in this song is 0%. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. Let's go, let's play retarded? When has that ever been uttered in the history of humanity?
Nobody's
And
ever
realizing
said
they
that.
could potentially be wrong, they started editing it to include disclaimers that it might not actually be the word.
Oh,
but then Nintendo and
yeah.
Atlas came out and said, no, the song does not include that word. So it made Kotaku and the writer look like complete fools,
Ding
which they weren't.
dong!
They eventually released a statement apologizing and throwing the writer under the bus, and then the writer threw them under the bus. They would later
Damn.
delete the article, and a month after everything blew over, the writer announced they were leaving Kotaku UK to focus on their own projects.
On my birthday? 6th of June. Happy birthday to me.
While she didn't say the article was a factor for the departure or not, the timing is a bit too coincidental for it to not have been a factor.
Yeah.
Mishearing a song lyric, having become the punching bag for a week, and having an article you wrote get deleted.
Guys, Twitter is so fun sometimes to just like look at people and like laugh. It's kind of like people watching, but you never want to be the main character. That is like the worst role in the world. Never be the main character of Twitter.
And then leaving the company a month later, that's really embarrassing.
Oh no, what happened
Probably
to
the
Bayonetta?
most infamous thing Polygon has ever done was the Doom 2016 gameplay video, where the guy playing it acts like he has never touched a video game in his
He's playing like the people who just hold the remote in ads and in movies and go.
life.
What are you doing? I think this is a worm. Why? Why does he do every action separately? Like, you can move and move the camera at the same time.
A blind chimpanzee probably has better aim than the guy playing right now. But everyone knows about this incident. I'm going to be talking about one that's largely forgotten about. Their Bayonetta 2 review.
Oh, here we go.
Bayonetta was always Devil May Cry but with boobs.
Let's rock, baby.
I love Devil May
That's what the
Cry.
entire series
That was the first game my grandparents ever bought for me on Christmas Day. And they were so extremely Christian. They were like, can you put the game in and then like we'll watch you play it? And I went, I don't know about that.
has always been. Hideki Kamiya loves women and the way women look. and he got a character designer
Face?
who was also a woman to design the character he wanted. So you got an action game with a sexy witch, because that's what Kamiya wanted, and that's what Kamiya got. When it comes to Polygon's review, they spend only a few paragraphs talking about the gameplay itself.
Okay.
It seems mostly positive, and says it does a lot of things better than the original. But that doesn't matter, because 2/3 of it are complaining about the fact the game shows off Bayonetta's assets too much.
What? Huh? My steak is too juicy. Aww.
The game was made by a guy who likes boobs in action. The game is made for guys who like boobs in action, and they have the right to enjoy those if they please. And the entire review is basically trashing the audience this game is intended for. He calls it cheap and pandering.
I'm gonna say it, not everything is made for you. That's it. Too much main character syndrome. If you don't like it, it's just not for you.
He even docks points from the final score because
What?
of it, even though he flat out said it did things better than the original. Like, if you don't like games with cheap boob and ass shots, that's
Then don't
fine.
play, yeah.
But that begs the question, why the hell are you reviewing a game that was made purposely for that? Like, look at this box art. Look at it. What the hell were you expecting?
I wouldn't mind tasting it.
Oh man, I sure hope this movie called Saw certainly doesn't have any blood or violence in it. Arthur Gase was the reviewer of Bayo 2 here, and he looks like he just got off recording for some 2000s new metal band.
He clocked his ass. Yeah. Maybe it's like the style, like the 3/4 turn. The earrings.
A lot of people complained about this review back then, but it's since fallen into obscurity because, well, other things would take center stage in the years to come. People do bring it up time to time, and Arthur still doubles down whenever it's...
What? Just give up! Look, even if you think you're right, just don't even, like, respond. There's no point.
brought up. Having to constantly defend your nearly 10-year-old review from criticism, well, that's kind of embarrassing.
PlayStation Vita is set to 16.
The PlayStation Vita was a great handheld system.
This wasn't the one for porn, was it? What's the one I'm thinking of that everybody just used to watch corn on all the time? Which one was that? That was a PSP. Thank you.
Was sleek, powerful, had a nice screen, and had a lot of good games. The issue is, it was released into a sea of hot competition by a company that didn't seem to care about it.
I love the DS.
But it still has its fans.
Hands up. I see. You know a girl named Nora? Sure, yeah. Where is she?
In the hospital.
Where in the hospital?
Yeah, they're clearing out the upper floors. She's somewhere in there.
Oh!
And one of those fans worked at IGN. Colin Moriarty is a huge PlayStation fan. No, actually, he's a slobbering PlayStation fanboy.
Oh my god, he's foaming at the mouth!
And he, like most fanboys, had a sense of superiority to their competitors. And he was going to express this in a piece he wrote about the PS Vita before it's released.
Okay, he might feel like he has something to prove. Okay? This is the same way, and at least 5 people are gonna yell at me and type ragey in chat. This is the same way the DS2 stands be acting. And I want to give DS2 a try, but you guys are making it so difficult!
The PlayStation Vita is set to succeed. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a console you're a fan of to succeed, but this article is more than that. This entire article is pure fanboyism at its finest. If he just wanted to gush about the Vita, that would have been fine. But of course, he had to compare it to the 3DS.
Oh, no. I love the 3DS, man. The only thing that was sad about the 3DS is when I played it for the first time, I was like, damn, we're going to be having 3D TVs, 3D movies. This technology is going to go absolutely nuts and insane. Not really.
Said the Vita was superior to the 3DS. I mean, hardware-wise, sure, but not just in hardware, in every aspect. The library, the brand itself, and flat out said the Vita was destined to sell more than the 3DS.
Damn!
And let me remind you, this is for a handheld that had not been released yet.
Oh.
He even flat out says the 3DS is of no concern to Sony.
I know what he's saying. He's like, oh yeah, just ignore the DS, who cares? But I just started laughing because I read hell. 30 million people play Angry Birds every day. Yeah!
Nintendo isn't even competition to them. The real competition is smartphones. But he says that after he spent most of the article saying how the 3DS is lesser to it, calling the 3DS library Nintendo 64 games and worn out, tired game series.
What?
This is one of the most
Nah, it had birds and beans. That game was awesome.
fanboyish, insecure console warring articles I have ever seen. But as we all know, the PS Vita wasn't set to succeed. In fact, it did pretty bad on the market.
Wait, is this like a game where you can put yourself in the game? I think they had that on the DS as well. Genius, thank you! Can we get a grab random opportunity?
Especially to the 3DS, which also struggled, but still managed to sell 75 million units.
Because it was fun. It felt like a sense of community, especially when I was a kid. I would go to high school and everybody would bring their DSs and then you would like screen or like, what was it called? Like street pass each other. It was kind of nice. Also, I liked Flipnote had Tenna. That shit was lit. You could just like draw and make little animations and stuff. That was awesome. I also like the games and yeah, I just really like the DS. It was cool.
While the Vita only sold around 15 million. The market spoke, and the Vita wasn't going to beat the 3DS. Sorry, Colin, but as long as Pokemon exists, the Vita didn't stand a chance.
Well, I mean, also, you have to think, like, a lot of games on the DS are, like, exclusive to the DS, right? So, like, if you wanted to play the game, you had to have the DS. But you didn't necessarily have to have a PSP, right? Like, you could play other PlayStation games on, like, your home PlayStation console. But a lot of people were like, oh, I really want to play Pokemon, but that's just on the DS.
Colin would later leave IGN a few years later to go on his own path, but having this stain of an article...
What exclusives did the PSP and Vita have? Actually, I don't know. I remember I played Danganronpa. I don't know if that was exclusive. It might have been. Also, my dad Yarharded for me, and he didn't know that it was only in Japanese, and I had no idea what was happening, so I just pushed buttons and guessed.
Still up as a reminder of how much you worship the ground PlayStation walks is incredibly embarrassing.
Alien Resurrection.
Now, I contemplated putting this review in here because I actually feel really bad for the guy who wrote this.
Oh no, what
but
happened?
It's still a funny story, so I decided to include it anyway.
Uh-oh. Now I'm scared. It's huge! It just keeps going. Okay, that's like a three-hander now. Okay, still going.
Alien Resurrection was a movie made in 1997 and was the fourth film in the Alien franchise.
Okay.
And honestly, it's a fun popcorn movie, nothing else. But being a late 90s blockbuster film, it of course got a game tie-in that was delayed for years and years until it finally came out in the year 2000. The game got middling scores all across the board and is mostly forgotten these days, seeing as it, well, came 3 years after the movie.
There are so many garbage games that I used to play that were just based on movies. Like, I played this one Shrek game with my sister that was just horrible. And I remember that it was bad, but I just couldn't stop playing it. I think maybe we got it from, like, Blockbuster or something.
There was one review on it, though, that while back then wasn't much, today is pretty funny to look at. The GameSpot review, where the reviewer gave it a 4 out of 10, which sort of makes sense for the milling review score.
Yeah, it's, like, not good.
But what is the reason for the 4 out of 10, you may ask?
What?
Well... the reviewer's main criticism was the controls.
Okay.
And what were the controls on this game like? Well, in the reviewer's own words, the game's control setup is its most terrifying element. The left analog stick moves you forward, back, and strafes right and left, while the right analog stick turns you and can be used to look up and down.
Okay.
Too often, you'll turn to face a foe and find that your weapon is aimed at the floor or ceiling, while the alien gleefully hacks away at your midsection. Now, does that sound familiar to you? Well,
yes.
It should, because that is the control scheme for every single console shooter used to this day.
Is that why in that other review you that guy was moving and then shooting and then aiming? Like, did people not know how to, like, walk and chew gum at the same time?
Yes, this game was one of the first games to use the dual analog setup ever.
Yeah, guys, just to let you know, they never fixed this problem. Wasn't patched. Devs just didn't care.
Thing uses now. It was a pioneer, and this reviewer hated the game for it. It's funny to laugh at it now, but you have to remember, back in 2000, a controller with 2 analog sticks was still a new thing, and controlling the game with 2 analog sticks was...
I have an embarrassing question, and it just reminded me of this. That PlayStation ad with the analog sticks as her booba, was that real or was that fake? It was just the way he was like fiddling with it. It was just making me think of that. It was real? You know what I'm talking about?
Something never really done. Even a few years into the PS2's life, you still had games using the L and R buttons to control the camera. It was too hard to shift away from what people were used to. So, this review was just kind of suffering from growing pains. The way we control games were changing, and this reviewer could not adapt. It's not really his fault, but it kind of is. Trashing a game for its control scheme that would later become the industry standard is something he could have never predicted, but in the end, it's still
embarrassing. It doesn't even matter. What is a game that actually just has horrible controls? I know I can think of one. Maybe somebody in chat would know. Jump King? Glover? Aquaman? Super Mario 64? Superman! Bubsy? Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild's alright. Well, honestly, the problem with Breath of the Wild, I used to speedrun Breath of the Wild, is that the controller was bad, and you had to, like, mod the controller to be able to do the speedrun. You had to get a piece of paper and fold it up and put it underneath of the D-pad. Yeah, maybe Superman. Real life. Yeah, real life has bad controls. I have no control over my life.
From the creators of Hitman comes Kane and Lynch.
This is whenever they, was this whenever they canceled the commercial? I think we just watched about this. The UK commercial, yeah.
Kane and Lynch Dead Man was a game released in 2007, and it was set to be huge. A big next-gen AAA game that was also a new IP. This game was hyped up quite a bit back in the day. Every place was talking about it and making a huge deal about it. And when the game finally came out, like, it got middling review scores across the board.
Please don't let this happen to GTA. Please don't let this happen to GTA. Please don't let this happen to GTA.
It wasn't a game changer, but it was fine. That seemed to be the consensus. GameSpot was one of the websites hyping the game up to hell and back. You could not go anywhere on their site without seeing...
Do you guys remember whenever YouTube used to... This was way back in the day. YouTube pages used to look like this. And then, like, if you had a YouTube channel, you could edit the sides like that.
An advertisement for the game. They were telling you to buy it right there and right now. And when it came time to review the game, Jeff Gertzman on the staff was ready and able, and the score he gave it, 6 out of 10. So yeah, about what every other site was saying about it.
That's normal.
But this was a special case.
What are you
because
wearing?
GameSpot was very obviously taking handouts from the game's publisher. And once they saw Jeff gave the game a fair and honest review, and not a 9 or 10 out of 10 masterpiece, buy it now, they threatened to pull their money. This led to GameSpot putting a lot of pressure on Jeff, who stood his ground and refused to back off.
Okay.
This would lead to GameSpot pulling his review and firing him because he wasn't trustworthy enough. Jeff would later go on...
Wow! Wait. They said you need to give this shit a 9 out of 10 or we're gonna get you in trouble. Then he said, nah! This shit is 6! Then they pulled it? This makes me think, like, how much politics actually goes into, like, game reviewing? Because you have to think, there are some people who, like, Google, like, is this game good before they buy it? So maybe they just take so much, like, developer money. I really never thought about that. Honestly, I just, like, watch YouTube reviews of games. That's probably not even safe either. But that's how I decide if I want to buy a game or not. Or I read, like, the reviews on Steam.
His own game website, Giant Bomb, so he could keep being an honest game reviewer. But this incident is more substantial than you think. This man was fired because he was being honest. He wasn't trying to butter people up or be dishonest with the people who were listening. He flat out told everyone, the game is alright. and he was fired
That's
for that.
crazy, man.
This basically proved what many thought was happening in gaming journalism.
That's
it
so
was very
sad.
possible for the publishers and companies to butter the review websites up with some cold hard cash to sway review scores. This is exactly what happened. With all the advertising for the game, only to be given an average review score, the reviewer was then fired. That basically put huge doubt on any games journalism website. This can happen to any of them, and making everyone start to doubt.
There are more than I originally thought. I guess I just don't go on any of these websites. I thought that it was gonna zoom out to like 3 names, not 900.
Games journalism in general is extremely embarrassing. This puts a nice bow on everything. The fact of the matter is, it all comes down to money in the end.
Sad,
money makes the world
everything.
go round.
Literally
Integrity
everything.
and honesty be damned. Whatever makes me the most green is what matters most.
Sad.
That is what has been the main goal for a long time. In the gaming industry, in the games journalism industry,
True.
in any industry. And that probably will be the main goal for as far as the eye can see.
Aww.
Remember, kids, the only opinion you can truly trust is your own.
True.
And no one can take that away from you.
True.
God bless, like and subscribe, and good night.
Dude, this video was based. Actually, there's like a little bit more. I don't know why. Let's see. I love this guy's channel. Oh, is it just black screen? Oh, no, don't look. I wish it was just a black screen. Don't look. Don't watch. It's the horror. No. Is this how it feels to watch me play games? Be honest. This has to be rage rate. This has to be rage rate. This has to be rage rate. No!
Put down the controller. Please.
He's still going. Thank God. Holy shit. Anyways, this is a video about the baddest Pokemon. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. Please check out the original channel. He's awesome and amazing and based and funny. And if you'd like to leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about game journalism, or maybe if you dabbled a little bit on the site by yourself. And use code Berry for 10% off your game subs order. Have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube! Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye!